Okay, so in this short video, I kind of want to just go through the very basics of the psychology of change. Now, you might not understand how this works in with your fitness and health lifestyle, but I can tell you it's absolutely imperative that you get this dealt with. Those of you who know me know that I started off my interest in health and fitness some 20 years ago when I was a complementary therapist, and I worked a lot with Reiki and reflexology, so I totally understand about this real connection between the mind and the body. And if you want to read a really good book, I would highly recommend that you get Your Body Speaks Your Mind by Debbie and Ed Shapiro. Really kind of gives you some understanding about how what goes on in our body and in our brain, they work with each other, and they can manifest from a mental attitude into a physical one. It's absolutely amazing science. But anyway, so this clip here is just to kind of show to you that your journey in terms of health and fitness is a mind, body and spirit connection. Now you might think that sounds a little bit hairy-fairy. I hope not, and I hope that over the course of some videos that I'm going to start posting up, that you can really start to see how it all works. Now, obviously, by nature of the fact that we're talking about the metabolic effect, nutrition being based on a lot of hormones, we can see how the brain and the mind come into it. Clearly the body, this is where we're trying to get fit and healthy, and that, you know, the two things can't be taken apart. And then we've got this whole kind of soul food thing. These are emotional centres which impact the brain as the brain impacts that. So they all work together. You cannot have one without the other. Now, what the metabolic effect team like us to have a look at is the fact that as human beings, our brains work on three basic batteries, which are our physical, our cognitive and our emotional batteries. Now, what tends to happen is that we tend to kind of use them all and drain them all. And then we get this dis-ease in one way or another, whether it's an emotional dis-ease, and we can suffer with depression and low self-esteem and so on, or something physical where we get blockages, we get digestive disorders, heartburn, indigestion. All these things are a really good sign to us that things aren't running correctly and that we need to address the way that we're balancing our lives out. Now, what we ideally need to do is to focus on one of these batteries at a time and then use the other ones to recharge. So you can use any one of those to recharge another, and I'm going to try and just explain that to you a little bit more in these next few slides. So how do we recharge? Well, let's say for instance you're at work all day and you're spending a lot of time on the computer. Would you be using our cognitive or our mental battery here? You know, your brain's going all the time, you're having to think a lot, you might be sat at a desk all day, so there's nothing physical there and probably nothing really particularly emotional, so we're really draining that that cognitive battery. Now, if we wanted to recharge that, one of the best ways that we could do that would be to come home from work, put our trainers on and go out for a nice leisure walk in the countryside, or to go for a nice game of squash, or to go to your personal trainer and work out. And people go, yeah, but when I get in from work, I don't want to work out, I'm tired, I need to recharge by laying on the sofa and watching TV. Research tells us that sitting on the sofa for 10 minutes, watching the TV, it literally does work for 10 minutes, and then we start to drain our cognitive battery further. What we need to do to recharge that cognitive battery is get up and move. And the first 5 minutes is always the hardest. That's a true fact as well. So if you can get up and move and make that, we'll talk about activation energies in another video, but make it easier for you to make that switch. So get in, have your trainers or your walking shoes by the door and your water bottle, and get out there before you can change your mind, and just watch how within 5 minutes, your mood is completely changed. You're now recharging that brain. You're using that physical battery a bit more. All your good hormones start, circulating through your body, and you just feel great. And all of my clients will tell you that when they've come in and they've had a session in the evening and they don't particularly want to turn up, the energy when they leave is completely different, and it's just incredible. Now, if we go over to somebody who is using more of their physical battery, so somebody who's more of a manual labourer, constantly use, or even an athlete, for instance, so they're constantly training, very, very easy to see how their physical battery becomes, really drained very quickly. They're using muscles all the time, so not necessarily quite as much, mental work going on there, but certainly lots of stress on the body and on the joints and so on. So clearly when they come home from work, yes, maybe they do want to lay on the sofa, but they could maybe recharge by doing something like, to use their brain, such as educational. do some form of studying, you know, these quizzes, crosswords, that kind of stuff, or indeed spend time with family and friends and recharge using that emotional aspect of their batteries. And then it just gives their body time to kind of relax, slow down and recharge. If we have got somebody who is consistently using their emotional battery, carers, you know, and I personally, my point of view is that this is perhaps the hardest battery to drain, or the easiest battery to drain down, excuse me. So if you're a carer, you give so much of your person to other people to help look after them in whatever way you're doing it, whether you're, you know, even people teaching special needs children, or, you know, working with couples in therapy. You are helping to change people's life perhaps, or helping to support them, and you can't help, in my opinion, give it some of yourself away, which becomes depleting very, very quickly. So they may come home from work really quite drained. So, you know, again, the thought of them going out to exercise could be just the idea of hell. But even just getting their pair of trainers, going out to the countryside, enjoying the fresh air, listening to the birds, you know, feeling the sunshine on their face, can be absolutely amazing for recharging that inner self. The endorphins will start coming out, all those happy hormones will start to circulate. Again, get through that first 5 minutes, because obviously any kind of drainage, any kind of battery drainage makes you feel physically tired. And you have to kind of work through that. So again, keep that activation energy low, where it basically, in what terms that means is that it's as easy for you as possible to make that change, to go and do the thing to recharge you. So keep your trainers nearby, have your quiz book, you know, take the batteries out the TV remote and put them far away so you're not tempted to come in and put the TV straight on. But again, that's another one. Hardest job of all, personally, absolutely, being a housewife. Most of us housewives, we work. So for me, I'm kind of like running a relatively new business, trying to get it up and running, studying, looking after the household, 2 children, you know, pretty much doing it all on my own. So if there are things that you can do to make it easier, then do so. So for me, 2 things that I did is I offered some training to my mum and to my aunt. One does my ironing and one does my housework for me once a week. So I've lost those 2 things. It gives me more time to focus on my studying and my business. I still get drained very, very quickly, and I have to really consciously make sure that I take time out to recharge. So play detective. The most important role for you right now is to look at your lifestyle and your mindset, because if they're not right, I can guarantee you that at some point you are going to plateau. So whether you're just starting off on a fat, or whether you are indeed working towards, you've plateaued and you're not understanding why, I guarantee that you need to take a look back and check out my mindset and lifestyle. So what I'd advise that you do when we say playing detective is have a look at that one thing that will make the biggest difference to you, and have like this trickle down effect. So say for instance, you know, you feel really, really drained and you come home and you sit in front of the TV every night and you're doing no recharging whatsoever. So let's make a pact to recharge one of those batteries every day for 10 minutes and see what happens, and see what the trickle down effect is. Does it make you make better food choices? Because at the end of the day, if you deplete all these batteries, or even one of them is completely depleted, it will actually impact your motivation and your energy for anything. So it will strip you of any willpower to eat clean, to be motivated to exercise. And this is what I'm saying, you can't separate the mind, body and spirit. It all comes in together. So if you don't take time to look after your batteries, any kind of fat loss program or healthy fitness program will eventually kind of leave you, and you're going to find yourself back at day one. Everyone goes, I'll start my diet Monday, I'll get all the foods out of the house. You're never going to escape that cycle. And at Revolution, we want you to get out of that cycle and learn to love food, love yourself, and learn how to live healthily and happily. These are just some of the ways that you can, in fact, recharge. So we've got exercise here, and groups is really good as well, because you get the emotion, you get the friend support. Ring a friend, take time out, spend 10-15 minutes talking to a friend, or meet them for a coffee or something like that, just to kind of get some energy back. Read, learn, educate yourself. Music is hugely powerful. Find a piece of music or an artist that you love and turn it up and just totally get into the music. And of course, mindfulness or meditation, absolutely amazing for resetting the brain, and I've got an amazing brainwave app downloaded right now that I listen to for about 20 minutes a day. So there are ways that you can recharge. Dealing with stress and sleep is huge. So if you find yourself consistently under stress, your stress hormones are going to be crazy in your body, and stress hormones can force you to store body fat. Yes, they can burn fat, but in the wrong environment, they will actually force you to store fat, very often around your midsection. Sleep is essential for hormonal resetting. So, you need to get those leptin levels reduced overnight, growth hormone increases. There's lots of other ones. You've got your ghrelin, you've got leptin. You've got your stress hormones, reducing themselves down. So dealing with stress and sleep is imperative, and is perhaps at the top of the chain when it comes to making those lifestyle changes. Clients that are dealing with this first over their nutrition are still having fat loss results. That just goes to show how powerful it is. And getting balance. Balance is absolutely essential. We've got here health, work, career, friends, time, family. It's really hard to plan it all in, but once you get used to it and it becomes a skill power, as Metabolic Effect like to say, the difference in the way that you feel and the way that you manage your eating, your nutrition, your exercise is just profound. So find that balance, ask for help, email us at getfit@revolution.co.uk, come over to our Facebook page, ask questions, use our blog. If there's anything you want to know, just drop us a line and we'll do what we can to help you. Thanks very much for listening now.